Welcome to Code Station.
Welcome to our video lessons on constant in PHP. In this session, we'll explore all about constants, like what are constants, how to define them, and why they are useful in PHP programs. So let us begin. Constants in PHP are like variables, but their value cannot be changed once they are defined. They are useful for storing values that should not be altered throughout the execution of a script. Constants are useful for storing values that should not be altered during the program's execution, such as configuration settings, mathematical values, or other fixed data. For example, if you want to define a constant for the value of pi, once this constant is defined, it cannot be changed in the rest of your code. Constants are case sensitive by convention. Constant identifiers are always uppercase. To declare a constant in PHP, you use the define function, which takes two arguments, the constant name and its value. For example, define pi, 3.14 would create a constant named pi with a value of 3.14, which cannot be changed. The rules for naming constants are like similar for variables, except that constants should be named using all uppercase letters and underscores between the words. This makes it easy to distinguish them from variables and helps to prevent accidental changes to their values. These are some differences between constants and variables. So constants do not have a dollar sign before them. Variables do have. Constants may be defined and accessed anywhere without regard to variable scoping rules. Like we discussed in the previous video, we have three: global, static, and local. So constant may not be redefined or undefined once they have been set. And finally, constant may only evaluate to scalar values or arrays. So these are some valid constant names. So as you can see, all of them are in uppercase. Then it is not starting with a number. Then when there are two words, you can separate it with underscore. Magic constants. PHP also provides some predefined constants known as magic constants. There are 9 magical constants that change depending on where they are used. For example, the value of constant line depends on the line that it's used on. All these magical constants are resolved at compile time, unlike regular constants which are resolved at runtime. So these are some examples of constants, like line, which shows the current line number, file shows the full path and file name, and rest are also the magic constants. To begin with, let's understand what constants are. As discussed earlier, a constant is a fixed value that cannot be changed or modified during the execution of the script. Once a constant is defined, the value remains constant throughout the entire script. So let's see how to define a constant. So here this is the syntax for defining. This is the syntax for defining a constant. This function is used to define a constant which takes two values, constant name and constant value. So I have created a constant with name constant name and given its value as constant value, and echo, like I was putting that on the browser. So let's check on the browser and refresh it, and here you go, the constant value. So now let's try this with another example. So as we know that constants follow some rules, like to create constants we need to follow some rules. Most of them are similar to the variable rules, but the most important one is to always use a uppercase letters. So now let us check their values. So echo, and here you are not using any dollar variable, dollar as in you have not declared a variable, so there is no dollar before the name. So directly it's pi, as you can see here. then echo again, and the second one is message. So now let's check the another one. So you're in lowercase, it's giving you the error as undefined constant. Still, let's check on browser. So you're reload. So you can see, and then this is an error. So let's rectify. So once a constant is defined, you can access this value throughout your PHP script using its name. So like you do for a variable. So you can see define pi as a constant 3.1. So you can use it later anywhere in the code without scope and any barriers. So now let's see an example or two of magic constants. So as we know, magic constants are predefined constants in PHP. So their definition states that their working depends on when they are used. So we have checked the 9 magic constants. So let us see 2 of them. So echo, so these are 2 the magic constants. So this is given. So these 2 are the magic constant. This gives us the current line number of the file, and this gives us the full path and file name. So let's check it. Save. Browser. Yeah, the script is running on line 7, and the current file is. So you can use this as per your convenience on your code. And we have learned about the 9 magic constants. So here we conclude our session of constants. That's it for our video tutorial on constants. I hope you found it helpful. Constants in PHP are valuable tools for storing fixed values that should not be changed during the execution of a script. So they are a very crucial part. They make code more readable, maintainable, and help avoid accidental modification to a critical data. Feel free to experiment with constants in your PHP code and discover their practical applications. Thank you for watching.